Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar on trends shaping commercial real estate. My name is Andy Calando.
My name is Nia Manjuna.
My name is Ariel Henricks.
My name is Elisa Ng.
And together we make up the Lee-Chandler Enterprises Investment Team. Really happy we get to present to you all today on some of our findings regarding trends in the short term and the long term shaping commercial real estate and the future of the industry. So we'll dive right into it. So we're really going to focus on 6 top trends shaping commercial real estate in our webinar today. And those 6 trends are digitization, data collection, artificial intelligence, digital reality, cybersecurity, and finally, specializations in real estate. So as you can see, 5 of these 6 really focus on just tech-based issues, tech-based techniques and methodologies. And it really is a testament to the shift of this industry, which for the longest time would maybe be like zero tech-based, really towards like electronic tech-based tools and that type of stuff really driving the future of the industry. So we'll just dive right into digitization.
So our first trend is digitization. It's no surprise that technology is a major part of our workforce today. It is a major component of, and it's completely and constantly evolving and growing in complexity. So a big part of digitization is a concept called IoT, which stands for the Internet of Things. And the Internet of Things is basically a system of interconnected computer systems. IoT is being used to improve end user experience through mobile apps. And an example of this is an interactive mobile app that's based on an understanding of tenant needs, preferences, and behaviors. Another application of IoT is to improve customer experience. And most commonly, IoT technology is being used to improve the customer retail experience. So for example, a lot of retail stores actually use IoT in their mirrors to help consumers visualize what certain clothing and certain retail products would look like and help them visualize it better. And then lastly, smart buildings are another big sub-trend in digitization. Smart buildings involve investments in energy efficient technologies, increased security and safety, smart parking, electric car charging ports, tenant data analysis and insights, and more. And Ariel will explain that more in the next slide.
So with the rise of AI technologies, smart buildings are becoming increasingly attractive because of the enhanced tenant experience. So 61% of surveyed commercial real estate executives believe that smart buildings will be just as or more influential than location on tenants' leasing decisions. This is further confirmed by the graph on the right, which shows that executives surveyed from all countries confirmed that within the next 18 months, they plan to increase their smart building investments, so much so that 20% of their portfolio or investments will be represented by smart buildings. So smart system purposes may include energy, security and parking, electric car charging, predictive maintenance, occupant behavior data analysis, and predictive capabilities. So when we look at the behavior data analysis, it's great for commercial real estate companies to really understand the tenant experience and how tenants are interacting. However, the debate arises of how much surveillance is too much surveillance. So ultimately, this may come as a drawback to fully adopting smart buildings.
So our second key topic area in the overall shift of commercial real estate in the short term and the long term moving forward is improved data collection. For the vast majority of human history, up until only just a decade or so ago, the big problem when it came to business enterprise was not having enough information or enough data that's stored, in an accessible fashion for the company to make optimal or fully informed decisions on. But in today's modern society, we're collecting so much data that many companies are actually suffering from information overload, and they don't have the proper tools established, the proper techniques or analytical strategies established to get the most out of this data and effectively use it. So a major shift that we're going to be seeing is an improvement not only in data collection, but along with that, the data collection and the analytics of that data. So these can kind of be summarized in the term data controls, and data controls and access will really become more complex and more sophisticated in the future as companies develop software and build out their operations to really get the most out of this data. Data governance should definitely be a top priority for commercial real estate leaders, both from a standpoint of the analytics team, breaking down this data into usable chunks and identifying relevant trends based on all the data they're gathering, and then management using that information and that analysis, the identified trends, to really make the best decisions, the most optimal choices for the company and its long-term financial success, as well as the financial success of their clients. In order to realize the benefits of data analytics to the fullest, commercial real estate companies really need to focus on 4 key things. First, they need to develop a data governance network. Then they need to define roles and responsibilities of the network, clarify data ownership, and finally, identify the right technologies and tools that are capable of achieving optimal analytics and therefore optimal decision making by the management team. So just to give a couple examples of the effects of optimal data management, so that's both along the lines of acquiring the data as cost effectively as possible, analyzing it as effectively as possible, and then using, from a management standpoint or managerial standpoint, I should say, taking that information, that analytics, that acquired information, and really making the best decisions for the business and for the clients based off that. So for example, we see client tracking and metric integration is allowing for innovative techniques to determine who is most likely to pay for a mortgage. So from the example, from the standpoint of a bank, for example, maybe identifying certain key financial metrics based on people of their target audience that make certain individuals or certain businesses more likely to apply for a mortgage or apply for a business loan. It really allows for what we could consider smart advertising. You see, we have it there in quotes. A nice little coin of phrase to be aware of. This all sort of leads to is a result of increased data gathering, storage in sophisticated data warehouses, and then optimal, most cost-effective and time management effective systems for breaking down that data. Additionally, ever-improving ERP, enterprise resource planning systems, are allowing for financial services companies, like how manufacturing companies have done for many years now, to optimize operational efficiency and secure more clients. So ERP is no longer just a tool to be hailed by manufacturers. It is now a tool that has integrated itself as a very critical aspect of the methodology and the overall business operation for service companies such as financial services and commercial real estate businesses. And again, this is really the information age, again in quotation marks there, another key coin of phrase to be aware of as you're using it in conversation and whatnot, because it's really going to be driving the winners and the losers, depending on who embraces it, of the coming decades when it comes to financial services and commercial real estate specifically. So I just kind of threw a lot of information at you guys, and a lot of it was really on the basis of talking about the different tools that are necessary to analyze information, both for increased efficiency of operations and making predictions. And perhaps the most important or most powerful tool of all that's at our disposal right now in the immediate future is artificial intelligence, AI. And a major part of AI is going to be its capabilities, its overall massive capacity for improving predictions that are being made by businesses, specifically in commercial real estate in this case. For example, we see forecasting of financials and other important metrics, such as the cap rate, the rental vacancy, NOI. We have AI predicting different situations that sensitivity, scenario-based analysis, talking about the possibility of a pandemic, possibility of a natural disaster or a trade war happening, all key sort of external factors that can greatly impact the economy and therefore greatly impact their financial health and the security of their clients who they are representing. AI is also great for predicting all sorts of metrics and circumstances surrounding FP&A and accounting, as well as CRM, and it's great for making predictions on consumer decisions. So not just outside factors that are going to affect these consumers, but therefore, or along with that, the actual specific decisions that consumers are going to make based on certain internal factors regarding their financial situations or their other personal situations that you have data on. Along with prediction, AI is also great for automating certain things. A key example we have here on our slide is AI for leases. You see that through tenant services, the automation of invoice generation, for example. So really what we're seeing in the wider scope with all of that is AI, artificial intelligence, is being used to automate some of the more fundamental or basic tasks in commercial real estate and financial services as a whole. And as a result of that, you're able to focus on training employees, increasing the skill set of these employees, making highly skilled employees far more in demand rather than unskilled employees, because AI is automating a lot of the more menial or more basic tasks. But also, once you have the employee base that's able to focus on these more overarching, high-level skills, the AI is able to be built out, and as a result of that, you're able to easily and cost-effectively scale the business and also make it more flexible. So it really allows for increased optimization for the business in the long run, and then with that, increased optimization in how it's going to be serving its clients.
Yeah, so moving on from what Andy said about AI, the fourth trend contributing to shaping commercial real estate is digital reality. Virtual technology is significantly important and helpful, especially during times like these. It is also very efficient in that it can save both time and money. So for example, if someone wanted to acquire an office or some sort of property and it was a few thousand miles away, it would probably be very time consuming and costly for them to constantly go back and forth. And so this is where digital reality for virtual tours play a crucial role. These virtual tours offer tenants realistic views of the property and that they are interested in. It can also help them envision what the area looks like so that they can plan out where the furniture or decorations can go, and they can manipulate things that best suit them. There are different ways to achieve digital reality. For example, you can do it through pictures, videos, live calls, and I know some companies have used drones to get high quality images and give virtual tours. Additionally, you can use digital reality to help aid architects and commercial real estate executives during their design and development process, because it easily allows them to work in virtual environments and share their ideas and designs with each other. Lastly, it can stimulate on-site training by providing visuals. And so the fifth trend is on cybersecurity and privacy. As technology is advancing, making it easier and more convenient for people to access information, it is important to safeguard your information by having a strong cybersecurity. The magnitude for cybersecurity threats are increasing, especially because of digitization. As Mia mentioned before, the use of mobile apps, streamlines, or any other technology would contribute to increasing the amount of threats. And so to overcome these, there are a few things you can do to mitigate the threat. The first would be to strengthen leadership and board involvement. The second would be to do security audits and pay attention to third-party risks, incorporate privacy, and address talent shortages. So overall, although the cyber threats have increased, it is important to be aware about who and where you share these information to. It is also essential to take these precautions so that others can't access or manipulate your data and work without your consent.
So we've talked a lot about the growing AI technologies, but this is really only half the battle. Companies also need to make sure they have the right people in place to manage AI systems. So unskilled employees are really holding back commercial real estate companies right now from fully implementing AI practices. This was confirmed by a survey in which 57% of organizations from the US consider lack of adequate skills the top challenge in adopting AI technology. So two solutions. The companies can either hire the right employees who know how to manage growing technologies, or they can start to train their employees in managing and utilizing the AI systems. But really something needs to change in the talent models. Another alternative, although this isn't really immediate, is making systems more automated so that they kind of are self-running and fewer resources would ultimately be needed.
So our sixth and final trend is an increased demand for specialized real estate. So we've been talking a lot about technology and the technology sector up until now, but the life sciences sector is also expanding at a really rapid rate. And as you can see in the figure to the right, life sciences employment in the United States is growing quite steadily from 2009 to the end of 2019. In fact, there was a 3.5% increase from 2017 to 2018. Double the rate of growth for total US employment. So there is a demand for specialized spaces. these spaces need to be specialized in order to facilitate the research and development and production within these spaces. And this is increasing, there's a high demand for this, and there's a shortage. So as a result, a lot of developers are considering redevelopment of older spaces in order to accommodate for these specialized spaces, especially in the Boston area and the Bay Area, where life sciences in particular are booming. And then additionally, medical retail is also a fast-growing market segmentation within the life sciences sector. And essentially what medical retail is, it's almost as if urgent care or some emergency center of some sort is incorporated into a retail space for the convenience of the customer. It's also just a more efficient way of getting the care that the customers need.
So just to give a brief conclusion on everything we've talked about today, the two biggest categories that are really driving the future, both in the short term and in the long term, talking about like decades or 10 plus years from now, when we look at commercial real estate, it's really the adoption of AI, artificial intelligence, and other technological based tools, as well as, or paralleling with that, the increased levels of specification that's being developed to meet the needs of individual rather than sort of whole swaths or groups of clients for these commercial real estate firms. So really, as a result of that, the firms are optimizing their efficiency, optimizing their total operations to increase their bottom line. At the same time, they're maintaining stronger, healthier, more prosperous relationships with their clients by optimizing just how well or how high of a quality level they are meeting these consumers' needs. Because what exactly one person needs and what exactly another person needs, even if they're in the same general categories, now with increased specification, we're able to, or for these commercial real estate firms rather, are able to really drill down and meet those needs right to the T, and do it in a very efficient, cost-effective, and time management effective manner with the use of AI technology tools and other data collection methodologies that really allow for them to get the most out of the information that they're collecting. So just to reel off our PowerPoint slides here real quick, increased AI capabilities are changing the way consumers and executives are engaging in commercial real estate. It's really an important thing for commercial real estate companies to reevaluate the current talent models around. Oh shoot, I'm sorry guys. I kind of was messing up and then I stuttered a lot. Let me just start the conclusion side again if that's okay. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll just start from the top. Okay. So just to sort of conclude or summarize our presentation, our webinar here for you all today, the two biggest categories that are really driving improvements and shifts in the coming years and even decades and beyond for commercial real estate is the shift towards artificial intelligence and other tech-based tools to optimize the gathering and the management analytics beyond of information for these businesses to optimize their cost effectiveness, their time management abilities, and then along with that, increase specification on the part of clients for these firms to ensure that each client is really being met, their needs rather are being met to the optimal level, and it's really leading to improved relations and increased relations between clients and the commercial real estate firms that they're doing business with. So just to summarize real quickly, increased AI capabilities are changing the way consumers and executives are engaging in commercial finance. Along with that, it's very important that commercial real estate companies try to reevaluate their current talent models with who they're hiring, what they're doing. Like Ariel said, really shifting away from unskilled workers into those who are more flexible, more adaptive, and really have a higher skill set so that they're able to utilize these AI tools as effectively as possible. Additionally, like I said before, it's no longer a question of acquiring data, rather a question of managing data overload, because this is the information age, and just because the information is available now doesn't mean that we're able to just automatically use it to its fullest potential. So really making sure that the underlying systems are in place to get the most sort of bang for the buck, I guess you could say, of the data that's being gathered. And finally, the most dramatic shifts will be those driven by virtual tools and techniques, which increases the level of specification that's possible, and therefore the quality level in which consumer needs are able to be met. So that's our webinar for you all today on the future that we perceive it for commercial real estate. And we really thank you all for coming today, and we'll open the floor for questions now if anybody has any questions to ask us. All right, so we have two questions to respond to today. Question number one is, how long do you think it will take for AI, artificial intelligence, to become the new norm? Does anybody have any thoughts on that?
So Andy, I can pitch in there. I think this is a really interesting question because when we think about artificial intelligence, especially in the movies, it's often portrayed through almost like robots, something so complex we can't even think about it, something so futuristic. But I really think that artificial intelligence has already made its way into manufacturing and to a lot of industries. RPA, or robotic process automation, has become big in accounting, also in manufacturing. A lot of industries that involve repetitive and like oftentimes mundane might not be the best word, but repetitive tasks. Artificial intelligence has and machine learning in particular, have definitely made their way into those industries and those parts of the industries. But for artificial intelligence to really make its way into all industries, I think that might take some time. I think we might be seeing some progress within the next couple decades.
Yeah, Nia, those are some fantastic thoughts. I totally agree with what you're saying about how it's not necessarily everywhere, and it's certainly not how we imagine it in the movies. There's no Terminators running around doing people's taxes or anything like that. But it's definitely true that like we talked about in our webinar here today, predictive analysis, AI is running predictions, forecasting simulations, and then also basic AI programs, very fundamental, I guess, in the grand scheme of it all, but still very valuable nonetheless, that are leading to the automation of basic underwriting tasks, in manufacturing, basic assemblies that used to be done by unskilled laborers are now being done by robots, by artificial intelligence. So we're definitely seeing it really in a wider range of industries already, perhaps not everywhere. And I think, like you said, as time goes on, it will only become more and more pervasive. And I think we're still in the first phase, the early stages of it reaching the financial services industry and the commercial real estate market specifically. But as the time moves forward, those who are going to be most successful in this field or in this industry in the long run are really going to be those who adopt these tools. I think that's actually a pretty good segue to our second question. And our second question being, do you believe that commercial real estate operators will resist change of sort of like any kind? I know a lot that we talked about in this webinar today are very sort of what many would consider, I think, groundbreaking or highly innovative shifts in the industry. So does anybody think there will be significant resistance to this change?
Yeah, I can touch on that. So I ultimately think that a lot of the older established commercial real estate companies will be more resistant to the change. There's a lot of work that will have to go into adapting to the new AI capabilities. As we mentioned earlier, re-looking at talent models and who companies hiring and whatnot. So it'll definitely be a difficult process, one which may have some pushback. But ultimately, if these commercial real estate operators, want to keep up with their competitors, they're really going to have to look at AI and how they can implement that, because it's really the next big thing.
Yeah, can I add on to that? So I think that commercial real estate will definitely resist change because it does take time to adapt. And I know that AI is like a whole new idea and a different concept, and some people like how they do things or run things at the moment, and so they may not be like open to the new change, but like those who are willing to learn and adapt, I think they will definitely see benefits in the long run and surpass their competitors.
Yeah, 100%. Very, very insightful statements by both of you guys. Thank you for sharing that. Some really interesting information. And Aria, like you said, those who don't choose to adopt these tools are, not to sound cruel, but those are the people that are going to end up going out of business. Those are the firms that aren't going to make it in the long run, because these technological tools are really driving this entire industry, frankly, forward. Those who are going to be resistant to change, those who have failed to, be highly flexible or adaptive, are unfortunately going to be at a severe disadvantage that could lead to the downfall of those firms. And with that, the genesis of firms that are more adaptive.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, everyone, those are the only questions we have for today. Thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us for this webinar today, talking about the future of the commercial real estate markets. We hope to see you all again in our next webinar in the coming weeks, and have a great rest of your day.